Okay, so thinking about getting my child into golf, what's the way I should start, and what are the biggest pitfalls that you see parents fall into?
Often we see with parents is that they're sort of, they're so hell-bent on trying to get their child to become a very good golfer soon. And just because they sort of like see a negative shot, maybe that their child missed the ball on their first swing, or maybe that they don't get the ball up in the air, they're too quick to try and give them tips and advice and so on. And I'm all for parents helping their children as much as we possibly can. But equally, when you give them that little bit of tips and advice, you must let them have a little bit of time to figure it out and work it out, because then that learning process is so much more robust and they'll remember it. If they figure out how to hit that ball up in the air because you've maybe encouraged them to sweep the floor, let them go away and let them practice it, and you become their practice buddy rather than their coach.
Yeah. And if I'm a non-golfer and I don't golf myself, but my child's been interested and so they quite like to go and play golf, what's the best route for them to go and start and have a go?
As bad as it sounds, often these parents make the best golfing parents for children, because they're not so passionate about the child sort of getting to their level, as it were. But what I'd really recommend is that they start to get them into a junior program where the junior organisers and the guys in charge of the programs understand a little bit about the different elements of development for children, how to change coaching from when they're 3, 4, 5 years old to when they're actually moving older and older. And the hardest thing for junior golfers isn't getting them into the game, it's keeping them in the game. You know, if I've got a 4-year-old that's just started off playing, I don't really care if he's that good at 4 years old. I care how good he is at 24 years old. So the hardest thing for me is actually keeping them in the game to that. So you want to try and get them into a junior program where they understand that it's a process, and as a parent you can really encourage that in trying to help it not become too outcome focused too soon, you know, and let them enjoy it, let them make friends, let them have fun, and try and be in a junior program where they develop as a person as well as just a golfer.
And in your opinion, is there a right age to start golf?
Yeah, I think that, like, a lot of people look back to when Tiger Woods started golf and think that that's the right age, like 3 years old and watching his dad hit golf balls in his garage and so on. But I think it depends on the child as well and where they're at mentally, and if they're sort of if they're mature enough and whether they want to do it. Some children don't want to play golf at first, and that's fine, and we shouldn't force them to do it. But I prefer to get them encouraged from an early age. Like, I love seeing kids at 3 years old or 2 years old coming down with their brothers and sisters and looking up to them and having role models. And often what you'll find as a parent or an older brother or sister, if they see you doing it and they see you having fun, they want to do it, okay? And that's the best way to go about it, rather than just standing watching them from behind a driving range bay and sort of trying to give them too much information too soon.
And what about if you've got a child that has got fairly good at golf and is thinking about concentrating solely on golf, do you recommend that, or would you want them playing other sports? What's the best approach?
It's quite common that we see children specialise in sports as they get a little bit older. I'm sure that you'll know a lot of people that were good at football, cricket, rugby, tennis, but also quite good at golf as well. And there does become a certain age that children will want to focus in on one or the other if they want to get really good at it. So I don't mind children focusing on golf, but at an early age, I want them playing a lot of different sports and sampling a lot of different sports to find out which ones that they enjoy the most. And it's them sorts of sports that they love. They're the ones that they'll probably get good at, because they're the ones that they'll be encouraged to want to get better at, and they'll have their friends there, and you play enough of something, you'll normally get pretty good at it.
Yeah, brilliant. And in terms of games, so if you've got a child who's actually pretty good, quite likes golf, but you take him down the range with you, how do you make golf in that aspect, we can't get to the golf course, fun and enjoyable? Is there some drills and games that you can play?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a different couple of fundamentals that we like to be able to see juniors do, and that's all working towards them becoming actually good players when they're older. So if you have a look out on the guys on the PGA Tour, none of them hit the ball short anymore. The tour average club head speed is 113 mile an hour. So if we think we want to make children fast from the get-go, if we can do, okay? So we want to make them explosive. So we'll give them loads of games to become explosive. We'll get them swinging their clubs around the other way and swooshing it and chopping zombies in half, or chopping stuff like broccoli in half. Stuff like that that's going to actually capture their minds a little bit and get them actually working on things that we want them to be able to do, but in a fun manner. If you just tell them to hit the ball harder, that's not really fun for a 6-year-old, but you tell them to chop a zombie in half and then turn the club round and wallop the zombie's head off, they start to like, they engage with that a little bit more, and then it's not so much of a chore.
Right. And in terms of attention spans, how, different age groups, how long can they actually sustain playing golf for, if you split it up into 3 or 4 different age groups, for instance?
Yeah, and I think age group is a dangerous thing, because you'll have some children that are 6 years old, but like chronologically, but biologically they might be a lot older or they might be a lot younger, and also maturity-wise they might be a lot older and younger. So, I've got some 5-6-year-olds that you can keep their attention for an hour. Got some 5-6-year-olds that mentally they're like goldfish and they want to do something different every 5 minutes or so. So I would recommend, as a golf professional, to have lots of different stations and lots of different drills lined up for them where they're challenged, but let them play on it until they get bored. Okay. Let them determine how long they stay on something. That's a good way of doing it.
And if I'm in the West Midlands and I've got a kid and they want to come to the Belfry to play golf, what do you offer?
So we offer a holistic junior golf program where we focus on trying to develop people first, where they develop a growth mindset, and we feel like that's going to set them up for life in general rather than just in golf. If they choose to become a golfer when they're older, that's great. That shows me that I've probably done quite a good job. So we focus on the person first, an athlete second, to try and get them fast and being able to actually enjoy lots of different sports. And then finally, golfers third, where we hope to have a few Rory McIlroys and that developing at the end of it. And that's my goal, to try and develop the largest junior golf program in the UK, and also the best one if I can do, where they love playing golf, they're well-rounded people, but equally they've got a life in sport, be it not just golf, in anything that they'd like to do. Lovely.